nominations are in. And we did our own Game Awards 2025 nominees reaction. You can check that out. We watched it together, co-streamed it. We did have to mute a section of the broadcast because they must have played copyrighted music at some point, which was kind of weird. And that did make the chat unavailable. Anytime we have to modify a past broadcast, that happens. So I am sorry about that. It was a lively discussion. We're going to have another lively discussion because in the wake of the Game Awards of 2025, just the nominations, there is a debate brewing. And it centers around Expedition 33, Arc Raiders, the various categories. Let me end the previous stream where we were hanging out and we were doing some morning coffee. That is something that we do just for the members. So if you are around this channel on a regular basis and you have not decided to do a membership, consider doing that. You get into extra content. You get into my Discord. But in case you missed it, Expedition 33 has a whopping 12 nominations. Now, that can be a little misleading because 3 of those are all in the performance category. There are some debates about that I'll talk about in a moment. Well, what that means is that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has 9 categories that it could win an award in. It could essentially walk away with 9 awards. It is a record. It is unprecedented to have that many nominations for one game. And there's many people debating about this. There were folks saying, well, you know, once you get that many nominations, like it sort of just gets redundant. This year in particular was very, very tough. There was a lot of repeated names in the nominated categories. You saw Expedition 33 show up a bunch. You saw Death Stranding 2 and Ghosts of Yotei. High quality, high caliber games from very, very respected studios, and they got tons of nominations. Well, when you have a year that is this strong, you're probably going to see a lot of repeat names. Now, as far as the categories, though, I do think there are 2 categories where Expedition 33 may not win. One of those is audio design. I'm not talking about soundtrack. I think for the original score, it will likely win that award because its soundtrack is highly praised in many circles. It went viral. It had a lot going for it. So I think soundtrack's going to win. But I do think audio design is a category it could lose to Battlefield 6 or maybe something like Yotei, where they went into certain, great details about how they did things. I do think Battlefield 6 audio design is very, very good. So it could be the one that walks away with that. Now, the other category, and this is where we start getting into a debate, but another category that I could see Expedition 33 losing is the RPG category. They could lose that to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, many have asked, well, if you lose that category, how could you possibly be the game of the year if you're not the best RPG? I would argue that Expedition 33 having 9 category nominations highly qualifies it for Game of the Year. It's nominated more than any other game, so that is in its corner for winning Game of the Year. Secondly, its identity is not as firmly rooted in RPG as Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. If you play that game, you know what I'm talking about. The number of NPCs just in one town that you can talk to and learn things and then go and find things, and the different ways you can impact the story and the different branching arcs and things that can take place based off of your decisions, not to mention the litany of inventory options you have and skills and abilities. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is it has as much breadth as it has depth in that department. Its identity is more firmly planted in the RPG category. So I could see it winning and being highly praised and revered as the best RPG of this year. Being the best RPG this year doesn't make you the best game this year, though, if that makes sense. There are other categories to be nominated in: your soundtrack, your performance, your art direction, your direction in general. There's 2 categories there: art direction and direction. And when they display that level of excellence in so many categories, 9 total categories, if they walk away with 7 trophies, the 7th one being Game of the Year, it means that they go up to the podium to accept Game of the Year with 6 trophies under their belt. If my prediction is correct, if they lose sound design and if they lose RPG, I think that's the best argument I could make, is that yes, Kingdom Come Deliverance may be considered the better RPG, but it's not in all the other categories. It's not in 9 total categories the way that Expedition 33 is. Now, the voice category debate, I do think, is one that people are bringing up. They're saying it's kind of lame to have half of the nominations be one game. The difficulty with that is when that many people give that many great performances. I mean, Andy Serkis didn't even get a nomination, and many are arguing that he deserves a nomination for how great he did in Expedition 33. And when they put on that great level of work, the question then becomes, well, why would you not recognize them? You would just be like, well, Jennifer English was the best, so give her the nomination, because I think she's actually probably the front runner to win the category. So there's a debate about that as well. Well, you should only pick one voice actor from each game. Well, I think that's somewhat unfair to the people who did great work in a game like Expedition 33. But I also saw a discussion about, well, what about all of the French voice actors that did such a good job in this game? And I think that's just going to be a challenge for an event like this. There's going to be a limit on how much recognition you can give. There's another big debate about what qualifies a game to be an indie title, an independent game. The claim is that when you go to the website, independent games are recognized for coming to the market outside of the traditional publisher relationship. But a lot of the times you could have a game that's been independent for how long, and then a publisher says, hey, we want to scoop you up, or hey, we want to help bring your game to market. That no longer means that the game is not independent. One game in particular, Dave the Diver, is considered independent, but it's like owned by a big publisher, so it's sort of protected, and it's in the traditional publisher scenario, and yet it was treated as an indie. That's another debate that I think is very difficult to have, because some people view it as, well, indie is like small team, small studio, but you could have a small team, small studio backed by a very, very big company, and they're largely protected. They're not nearly as at risk as another 50-person team who is completely independent. There are also publishers who specialize in publishing indie games. PlayStack is a publisher, and they published Balatro last year. And you might say, oh, well, that's a publisher. No, publishing a game does not disqualify you, I don't think, from being considered indie. It just means that you are not in the traditional publisher setting, meaning you're not owned by some gigantic publisher. If a company wants to swoop in and say, hey, we want to help bring your game to market, and the company, the developer, stays independent, I think that would qualify them for the category and for the nomination. But as it stands right now, Expedition 33, I don't really think there's much competition for it in virtually all of the categories that it is in. We're seeing the clips. We know Shroud. I personally think he's kind of leaning into the meme a little bit, saying that like Arc Raiders should be up there. I think Arc Raiders is a great game. It's probably going to win the multiplayer category. It's been a ton of fun, but the mountain of work and excellence that goes into games like Death Stranding 2 and Yote and Expedition 33, and people are upset that Donkey Kong's up there. I'm like, Donkey Kong reviewed incredibly well in the review circuit. That's going to play a huge role in the nominations. It's got a ton of reviews. It's got a very good score. I've gone back to it. It doesn't really play all that well co-op. I think it's way better by yourself, unless you can get the co-op person to behave themselves and not to go crazy. It felt like I had a 50 caliber gun on my shoulder. My wife was just shooting everything. So I've gone back to the game and I've had a much better time with it. But I think there's a lot of debate about, like, well, why did Donkey Kong get up there? Why did Yote not get a nomination? So I want to say one word about that as well. I told people earlier this year that I did not think Yote would get a nomination. I definitely didn't think it would win Game of the Year. Now, when I played the game, I changed my tune a little bit. I said, I think this game could get a nom. I still maintained my position that it could not win. And then when I looked at the scores, I thought, actually, I don't think it's going to make it, because you're going to have games like Donkey Kong, you're going to have games like Silksong, you're going to have games like Hades 2 that just have stronger scores. And when you have that stronger score, sometimes that's the tipping point. And it's amazing to me, the only shock and surprise I got was that Arc Raiders didn't get sound design nomination, and that both Silksong and Hades 2 got nommed. I thought one would step on the other. I thought when people made their lists, they would almost see those games as adjacent to each other, even though they're not similar at all. I just thought mentally people might do that, and one would kind of kick the other off the podium. But they both got up there. If there's anything we can say about the results this year, it's that sequels are doing incredibly well, despite all of the people who act like sequels are terrible and disappointing and we should have less of them. I think they're a sign of health in the industry. It means you had a game that was so successful that you're making a second one, like Hades 2. The other thing I think we can take away here is that a lot of non-AAA games are getting lots of accolades. I remember when Ori and the Blind Forest walked away with a ton of nominations, everybody was like, what was that game? Where did it came from? Now, I already knew how great it was because I had already played it, but it was sort of a surprise at the Game Awards when this little scrappy Metroidvania came in and got a bunch of noms. Well, now, half of every list, if not more, are small games, small studios, AA studios, indie studios, and I think that's a good thing. The idea that like AAA is dying and indies and AAs are taking over, I think that's unnecessarily tribalistic. I think both are doing exceptionally well and flourishing. The other thing I've noticed is that a lot of people who said the industry is dying now has to look at how great this year was and how amazing it is. I don't know how you say the industry's dying. I don't know how you say gaming is dying when you have a year this competitive. You have a year so competitive that a game like Yote didn't get nominated for Game of the Year. I think in previous years it would have been a shoo-in, but this year was so competitive. A very, very highly praised game from Sucker Punch didn't get a Game of the Year nom, and it's got a bunch of noms in other categories. That's how competitive this year is, which means you can't say this year sucked or gaming's dead or dying. The other thing that a lot of the Arc Raiders commentary I find to be amusing is you'll see a lot of talking heads and YouTube channels and gaming commentators who are now suddenly just over the moon about Arc Raiders, and they want to see it lauded and given praise. But these are from the same people who said that live service games are ruining the industry. Arc Raiders is a $40 live service game. It's not free to play, so you got to pay for it, and it's a live service game. And I've always maintained that the problem was never live service games. The problem were bad live service games. So Expedition 33 basically, I think, has virtually no competition. That's why that's on the thumbnail. And I'm happy to debate all these various things with you. The voice actor category debate, the RPG category debate, the Arc Raiders debate. You know, should Expedition 33 be in so many categories? So there's plenty to talk about. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. No timestamps today because I just kind of opened the show with my thoughts. And let me get my combined chat open. Cloudflare was having a bunch of problems this morning, and it looks like they might still be having problems. Yeah, I can't. My combined chat app is not working. It just has failed to load. So we may end up having a lot of problems today with the stream and with you guys. So make sure and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, do all the buttons, do all the things. Appreciate you guys so much being here every day and supporting what I do. What is Cloudflare? It's like a DNS provider. Like they keep websites running and they keep them from getting like DDoS attacks and stuff. That's a pretty basic explanation of what they do. And yeah, they're having all kinds of problems today. So a bunch of stuff's just not working. Only us gray ghosts can see you type. No, I can see boycott Activision. I can see what they're saying. So, and Wired Rope is going to be the first gifted of the day, or the first gifted bomb of the day. A 5 bomb over there on Twitch to round us out and get us to exactly 100. We're now on pace. We are now on pace. You want to end every day with about 100, so that's on pace from yesterday to unlock Friday night, which is Gaming News Tonight with Madam. It's something that I do on a weekly basis for you guys when we hit those great goals. Did anybody do... Oh, Hotshot did a VIP, a 31-month, and let me add that to the total. I need to refresh so I can have my my fan funding page open. I'm having to do a bit of an ad hoc solution for myself this morning because some of my applications are not working because of Cloudflare. So yeah, thank you, Hotshot. I got it there, and sorry for missing that. Guys, make sure we are hitting that like button. We've been live for just about 15 minutes. Let's try to get the likes as high, as fast as we can. We're obviously continuing to deal with the Cloudflare stuff. I don't have any control over that. So if you guys are having any kinds of trouble, I would recommend not leaving the content because you might not be able to get back. All these websites are slowly getting back into a good position. I haven't played Arc Raiders, so I'm curious what makes you say the sound design should be nominated. it has excellent sound design with respect to ambiance, the gunfire, the robots. The game just sounds good. When you're in it, there's something very immersive about Arc Raiders gameplay. And one of those things is the sound. You joined for the Game Awards discussion. Well, thank you so much for being here, Cedric. If you guys found the stream on your homepage or search results, be sure to hit like and subscribe. That helps me out. YouTube has been a bit of a bear this year, and you guys are the reason that we are able to do this. So thank you so much. And also, when these websites like Cloudflare and stuff have problems, or not websites, but these services have problems, it can really make for a rough day. So we appreciate you guys being here and doing all the things. Even opening crate sounds good. Yeah, just like looting, like prying open a crate. The beep boop sounds from like the bots and stuff when they're like, they're nearby to be looted. BS that Yote got snubbed. I don't think Yote got snubbed at all. I think Yote got plenty of nominations in categories that it's deserving. And I don't think it was a strong enough title to go up against the likes of Death Stranding 2 and Expedition 33 and Silksong and Hades. Like, listen, I've played Expedition 33 and I've played Death Stranding 2. I didn't finish Hades 2 or Silksong, and I can tell, yeah, those games landed a lot stronger than Yote did. So they're gonna get nominated. I would never try to pretend that those aren't good games, even though they're not. Like, well, if Hades was in my living room, I probably would play Hades too. But like, Silksong just wasn't for me. That doesn't mean it's a bad game. It's definitely deserving of the nomination and the praise. Thank you, SDO, for the £5 super chat. Today's the 18th of November, and we know the Game of the Year nominations. GTA releases November 19th of 2026, so does that mean GTA 6 will not be nominated? I have a sneaking suspicion that if they hit their release date, that they will be in contention next year. I will gift a member here. I can do a super chat goal today. It wasn't working yesterday. Now it is. Bro Sexy with 41 months. Expedition 33 deserves all the accolades. Definitely my game of the year, with Yote a very close second. What a year to be a gamer. Yes, Arc Raiders is a surprising addiction. Count it. Count it, says Bro Sexy. Let's add it. Let's add it to the total. Eugene says Silksong got a little overpraise from my perspective. Silksong was hard for you to beat? No, it wasn't hard for me to beat. Like, when I put the game down, I had just beat a boss. I had literally just beat a boss. Like, it wasn't too hard. I wasn't enjoying it. I got to a new area, and I got to, like, a new room, and I had to do a run back to get back there, because I had gone into the new area. I didn't have a lot of health. I get up to this space, and I died, and I was doing a run back, and I was like, you know what? I don't like this, the way that it's set up. Because the boss I had just got done fighting, I was running back to, and I just wasn't enjoying it. I was like, I'm not having fun. Like, if I'm not having fun in the game, I'm not going to push myself to finish it. I've got better things to do with my time than like sadistically inflict pain on myself. It just was like, I'm not enjoying this. That's how you beat it. You put the game down. I was literally on my couch. I was next to my wife, and my son was watching me play, and he watched me beat the boss. And I got to this section, and I had to do a pretty significant run back, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not going to play a game I'm not enjoying. And I put it down. That's something that's something that I absolutely instill in my kids. I'm like, if you're not enjoying a game, don't just sit there and continue to be frustrated. There's an ocean of other games you can play. Like, gaming is here to be enjoyed. And I actually let them play really crappy iPad games once because I wanted them to feel terrible afterwards. And I told them that that's the way the game was designed. I said, the game is designed to make you feel terrible and upset so that you spend money. And they were so upset by that, and they were so irritated by that, they don't ask to play those games anymore. They don't ask to play mobile games or iPad games. They don't. Unless it's something like, like a word game or something that like my dad plays or something. They'll want to poke around on that and try to spell words. But they're like, They don't want to play those games because it's like those games are not designed for your enjoyment. They're designed to prey on you. And I think if a game is designed to be very difficult and your disposition, like the way that I'm wired, my temperament, I'm just not cut out for it. I'm like, I'm not going to have a good time with this. You know, I'm not. I'm going to get irritated and it's going to sour my mood. There are people that can play frustrating games and it like activates something in them. You know, it makes them want to beat it. It makes them, you know, want to get good or whatever. And that just doesn't happen to me. I'm just like, yeah, I'll go play something in my backlog. I'll go play Ball Pit. I'll go play, you know, right now I'm working my way through Donkey Kong Bonanza because I wanted to be able to do, you know, my own top 10 list this year. And that one might actually be on there because it is really enjoyable when you're by yourself. It's like the puzzles, the games, the boss fights. It's a really, really fun game. I don't think I'm enjoying it as much as Astrobot, but I am really enjoying it. I'm Unk now. I just want to relax. Yeah, some of it's time of day as well. Like for me, because I game at like 9:30 at night, that is a terrible time to play a frustrating game. Because it gets your blood pressure up, it gets your adrenaline going, because you might win, right? Like when I was playing Wu Chang for review access, I would not play Wu Chang in the evenings. I would play it in the afternoons. Because it's like that's a terrible time of day to play a game like that. It's like I've got to be able to go to bed at 11:30-ish, midnight-ish. I need to be up 6.5 hours later to start my day, to take care of the house and the fam and the coffee and my thumbnails and my scripts. You know, I'm doing all that in the early mornings before I go live with you guys. And it's like, I'm not disrupting my schedule to play a game that's going to make me mad, boys, you know? But even if I don't play a game, I can recognize its greatness. It's like, same thing happened with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I was like, I can't do this. The saving system was a huge turnoff for me. And I just didn't have the time for it. But I can look at it and say, this is probably going to win RPG of the year because it's expansive, it's well built, you know. Now there were people that lied and tried to misrepresent my review, and they tried to make it seem negative. I praised the game. I said that it was freedom that comes with the cost. It's a massive amount of freedom, but that also means you can have pretty severe consequences during a play session that can like set you back or like, you know, ruin your plans. And that is, I think, why people like it so much. Like it feels like a genuine, you know, RPG where they're kind of dictating what's happening. The melee combat felt terrible to me in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I would say even people that really like it would probably admit it's one of its weakest points. You know, they'll also say once it clicks, it's not bad, and once you get better loot, it's not bad. It's meant to feel like a part of the power fantasy. You know, you're impoverished and you have nothing. You're impoverished and you have nothing, and you're weak and untrained, or not weak and untrained. You're either weak or hungry, or you don't have good weaponry or good armor. And I think in general that's part of why people like it. Like they end up feeling very strong, you know, halfway through or, you know, near the end of the game. And that's part of the journey for them. The combat's the only thing holding me back from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Yeah, even people that like it will admit it takes a while. It takes some learning. It's the learning curve's there, and your equipment's really bad early on. It's part of the story. Like you have no money, have nothing to your name. So very good stuff. So you can die really fast in that game. But I'm like, yeah, it was amazing. Now, I played Yote, and I liked it a little bit more than Expedition 33, but I'll say, no, yeah, I'm not surprised at all that Yote didn't get a Game of the Year nom. I don't feel that Yote got snubbed. I think Expedition 33 belongs and will likely win every category that it's in, with the exception of like sound design and RPG. Does a puzzle challenge you, or would you prefer puzzles to solve themselves? I think it depends on the game. some games, I think the puzzles are a really nice addition, and they really add to it. Like the Tomb Raider reboot, I liked the puzzles in the first 2 Tomb Raiders quite a bit. I think there's good puzzles in like Uncharted 4. You know, they're not elaborate. I like the puzzles in Ragnarok when, you know, Atreus shuts the frick up. And I do like games that center around puzzles. Portal 1 and 2 are some of my all-time favorite games. There was the other one that I played, Entropy Center, was really, really good. That one worked with time. That was a really good puzzle game. Then there's the Talos Principle, like 1 and 2. I played those each quite a bit, and I enjoyed them. I like puzzle games, and I like games that have puzzles in them. I do not like when the puzzle is like almost immediately hinted at or solved by the people with you. I think that's kind of annoying. That annoyed me in Ragnarok quite a bit. Yeah. Guys, make sure as you're coming in for the discussion today, you are hitting the like button. Thank you so much for being here. It seems like maybe, YouTube's not being too affected by the stuff going on. There's a lot of websites that aren't working right now because of some stuff, but it seems like everything's kind of coming back online. Like, I couldn't go to the Game Awards website. I couldn't use Twitter. Like, everything was basically broken. Sorry, off topic here. I was looking to spruce my room with some lighting. Any recommendations? I see your lighting in your room. It looks great. I mean, the thing on the ground is a rope light, and then the thing behind me is just an uplight. You can get, like, they're called uplights. You can get them for your house, like, outside during the holidays, which I might actually take 2 of mine outside this year and use them, because they're meant for outdoor use as well as indoor use. You don't want these lights. These are like diffused studio lights so that I'm evenly lit and don't have like a lot of shadows on like my face or my glasses or anything like that. That's what I'm using in the room. You still haven't finished Expedition 33 mostly because it's turn-based. It's hard to stay engaged with that. I think what clicked for me with Expedition 33 was I spent a lot of time reading the systems and coming up with like plans of attack within the fight that felt really fun. Like, that felt really fun. Oh, I'm going to use this person to get this, and then I'm going to have this, and then I'm going to have that. Like, there was something that I could do with, I think it was Lune. I could do something with her where, like, the gun. Oh, that's what it was. I would shoot her gun, and if I could get the 4 different colors, she had like a bonkers crazy attack. So like I did that every time with her, and it was really fun. It was a little RNG, obviously, because you wouldn't always get the colors. But like, I loved doing that with her. It was super fun, and it was just something I came up with on my own. I didn't go and look up guides. I didn't go and look up anything. Expedition 33 gameplay is really enjoyable for that reason. Like, that's why I think Expedition 33 just doesn't have much competition, because like it just, at every turn it felt cool and fun and creative and fresh. You know, Elemental Genesis, I think that was it. Yeah, it's been a while since I played. I mean, it was months ago, and I remember doing that and really, really liking it. I remember really liking moving things around with the what are the things called that you can get? I forget what they're called. You have the things that you have to unlock, and then you can have them permanent as traits. Because I went and got one. There was one that made you, your Lumina. Yeah, your Lumina, and then it could turn into something else. Picto, right? You had your Pictos and your Lumens. Or was it Lumina? I can't remember. But you had your Pictos and your something. It's something like that. But I remember I was fighting a boss that was doing something to us. I forget what it was called. It would make us attack ourselves or something. And it made it was like you couldn't win the fight. It was like ridiculous. So I went in and like lost immediately. Picto and Lumina, thank you. And I remembered seeing somebody had got or found a Picto that made us immune to that. So I went and got in a bunch of fights with it, unlocked it so that we could all use it, and then we went in and we were immune to it. That was a really fun moment. That was a really, really fun moment. I really liked that. Turn-based is outdated. Turn-based can be outdated in your opinion. That's fine. I don't necessarily know if a mechanic can be outdated. I mean, there are definitely mechanics in old games that we have left behind. The reason I don't think turn-based has ever gone anywhere, because you still see it in Baldur's Gate 3, Metaphor ReFantazio, Expedition 33, and a host of other games. And the reason I think it's still here is because people like it. They like the strategy. They like the thoughtfulness. They like winning a fight because they were smart and planned well, not because they were fast. You know, I think that's why. I think that's one of the reasons there were some turn-based people that did not like the parry and the dodge and the action elements of Expedition 33. Like, it turned them off. They didn't enjoy, because that it's a huge aspect of some of the fights. It's a huge aspect. Like, there are some fights that will go much better for you if you do blocks and parries. If you dodges and parries effectively. I mean, it is big difference between, victory and failure. So, Expedition 33 is amazing. I prefer how Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth did it, like a mix between real-time and turn-based mechanics. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do a mixture. I think you'll probably see more games do a mixture. I mean, that was one of the reasons there were a lot of people that were, like, heavily critical of Expedition 33 getting so much praise. They're like, there's so many other games that do turn-based with a mix of action. And it's like, yeah, well, maybe they should market themselves better, because Expedition 33, the minute I saw it, and the minute I saw how turn-based worked, I wanted to play it. I mean, go back on the channel to when we first saw it. I said that's Game of the Year material right there. I could tell from the trailer. I said that's Game of the Year material. And I said that's a turn-based game I would play. I said both of those things. The first time I saw Expedition 33, I thought there's something special there. Ever since Expedition 33, I've been looking into more turn-based games just for the how thought-provoking each fight can be. It seems like some of you are having some issues on YouTube. I can tell by looking at the back end. I am sorry. I don't have any control over that. There are some things going on the internet right now that's causing some websites to be really wild. So, sorry. We're like losing 50 and gaining 50 people like a ping pong match, and I think it's usually when people are trying to refresh. Edward Holtz with a £5 super chat says, there's a pattern where even number years, Best Direction won Game of the Year. Odd number years, Best Direction didn't win Game of the Year. Do we think Expedition 33 could change that? I don't know why that pattern exists. If you're correct, Edward, and you went and did your research, I don't know why that pattern would exist. That's kind of strange. But I will say this. There's only two categories where I think Expedition 33 is not going to win. There's only two categories. There is sound design, not soundtrack. Audio design, I don't think Expedition 33 wins that category. And then the RPG category, I think very likely could go to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Yeah. I honestly think that my favorite game this year isn't going to win any awards. Ghosts of Yotei. Some guy got in my comments and he said, oh, you changed your mind because you saw the leak. I'm like, I've been saying all year that I didn't think Yotei would win. I said for most of the year it wouldn't get a nomination. After playing it, I said, I think this thing could get a nom. But it's just too competitive. And that's my favorite game. And I'm even willing to be like, yeah, it's probably not going to win anything. Sorry, the year is too competitive. Yotei's great. I had such a good time with it. It's going to lose every category that it's in. It's going to lose every category, boys. It is. And I don't think it was strong enough to be up there for Game of the Year comparatively in the review circuit. I'm not saying my opinion is it's not strong enough. I'm saying in the review circuit, Yotei doesn't stand tall enough to be up there with, with the rest. You think it's going to lose art direction? Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong? Oh, no. It's taking art direction. 100%. 100%, dude. Their outfits, the vibe, the paintress, the setting, the characters. It's like the whole game looks like a living painting. Come on. It used at least the other nominations didn't use Gen AI. What do you mean? Expedition 33 used generative AI in what capacity? Expedition 33 is one of the only games you can break down and defend on multiple levels compared to most other noms. Nobody is breaking down Hades and Silksong in defense. They just say they are good. I love my Ravens. They're not winning the Super Bowl. That's right. Like, I really enjoyed Yotei, and I knew. I was like, I ain't gonna win. And I said, I might not even get a nom. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33 used AI. Yeah, I know. You established that. I said, how? You already said that. I knew what you meant when you said at least the other nominations didn't use generative AI. And I said, how did they use it? Yotei will maybe get award for technical achievement in BAFTA or DICE, just because of how good it looks. How good it looks and runs. I don't know. I think technical achievement will go to Death Stranding 2 before Yotei. What Kojima did with dynamic, like, weather events, like floods and avalanches, and the way he layered the music, depending on how high or low you are in the game, how beautiful it looks. Yeah, I think Death Stranding 2 is going to just kick the dog snot out of Yotei in that category. I mean, I loved Yotei, but what Kojima achieved with Death Stranding 2 was it's worthy of praise in the technical realm. Like, almost no other games are doing that. And some of those sections with all of the, like, the pinwheels and, like, the fireworks, it's unbelievable. Yo, I am Melee with 47 months on YouTube and 27 months on Purple. He does a double dip. Boom, boom, 104. Guys, Stone Spire can't do the setups anymore, so the spirit of the single gifted setups has got to be carried by somebody else. They told him no more YouTube while he's at work. He got a little no finger wag in his face. And so, yeah. Death Stranding 2 is the best technical development this year by far. Yeah, I think technically Yotei would lose to Death Stranding 2 in that category. Yeah. The mocap was amazing. The world, just the scenes that they did. I'm actually surprised. This is one of the ones that surprised me. I know why they did it, and I don't disagree, but it still surprised me that Troy Baker got nominated for Indiana Jones and not Higgs in Death Stranding. Like, I get why they did it. Him channeling Harrison Ford is so impressive. I think he deserves the nomination for Indiana Jones. But man, oh man, he was so good as Higgs. I thought it would have been really funny if he was in the category twice. I thought that would have been incredible. You know, and Troy Baker nominated for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And Troy Baker nominated for Higgs in Death Stranding 2. That would have been a heck of an achievement for his career, to be like, I'm competing with myself. Like, I'm just that good. It's an existing character he's just mimicking. So, if you got really good at painting and you made a near replica of the Mona Lisa, you don't think that would be a heck of an achievement? Like, impersonating an iconic voice to the degree that, like, you think it's him? You don't think that's a big achievement? What he did? I don't know. I'm going hyperbolic, obviously. But channeling and sounding like Harrison Ford to that degree for an entire game, that is incredible work. It's not like an impersonation that he did for a bit for like 60 seconds on a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll see stand-up comedians who can do like an impersonation of the president, and you know, they can do it for a little bit and then that's it. I don't know if they could do it for an entire movie and convince you and make, you know, I don't know, make it sound like it's them. Not really. People do impersonations all the time. That's not the same. You're kind of walking into my trap card unintentionally. I've already kind of preloaded the argument against that. I don't think an impersonation is the same thing as being Harrison Ford, being Indiana Jones for an entire video game. You see the difference? Like, yeah, Shane Gillis is really good at doing Trump, and it's funny. I don't think Gillis could do a whole a whole movie or video game as Trump. There would be cracks in the impersonation that would start to show. There would be. Like, he really, really rehearses certain bits and certain phrases, but like, you'd have actual sentences and actual dialogue that you'd have to try to sound like the man and be compelling and convincing, not doing like almost like a caricature. A lot of impersonation is caricature, right? It's they exaggerate the mannerisms and the things, and you're like, aha, I know who that is. Like, there are very impressive people with impersonation, like Jay Farrow. He's one of the best. But I don't necessarily think that's the same as being like, I'm going to be Harrison Ford for an entire video game. I'm not talentless. Who said that you were talentless? I don't know who said that. Oh, talentless people criticize the most. I don't think he's criticizing. He's saying that he doesn't know if it's as impressive as like what he did with Higgs. If I'm trying to make, you know, Smooth Jazz's argument as strong as possible, he's saying coming up with an entirely new character like Higgs and making that character awesome and have personality, that's more impressive than impersonating an existing character for an entire game. That's probably what his position is. I don't necessarily think that opinion is wrong. It's just a difference of like what's impressive to you. I am super impressed at what he did with Harrison Ford. Like, as somebody who grew up with Han Solo and Indiana Jones, I was like, dadgummit, that's Harrison Ford. That's unbelievable. Like, and again, not like a stand-up comedian doing a bit. Like, it sounds like Harrison Ford is in the dadgum game. It's very, very impressive. He doesn't just impersonate the voice. It's like, it's him. It's the character. It's Indiana Jones. Like, even in segments that I was playing, because I didn't play it for very long, but like in the one segment where you're in the museum and you're grabbing different things and kind of talking to yourself. There's like a gnat in here that flew by, and he's kind of talking to himself. Even the subtleties there, I'm like, oh my gosh, it sounds just like him. Like, it's so good. I just thought it would have been funny if he got nominated for both and was like competing with himself. I thought that would have been good. I honestly think Weird Al is one of the best musicians ever. His ability to mimic so many styles is incredible. Have you ever watched the guy, Zoob? You probably do. You probably watched him. This guy's incredible. He's big everywhere. He's a YouTuber, Mac Glocky. You ever watched his stuff? He did an Audio Slave one recently that I'm like, I would listen to that in my car. He did If Audio Slave Wrote Last Night by Morgan Wallen. It's unbelievable what that guy can do. Like, Matt Glocky might be one of the most talented people I've ever seen do that. Because the homie sounds like, he'll do Smashing Pumpkins, he'll do Audio Slave, he'll do anybody, and he sounds like them. He writes the music like them. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I'll check it out. Yeah, he blows my mind anytime he does like Chevelle, Audio Slave, or Smashing Pumpkins. Because I'm very familiar with them. He'll do like Korn and other bands that I didn't really listen to much growing up. I was more of like a Smashing Pumpkins guy. I was more of like a Chevelle guy. So when he does a band I'm familiar with, I'm like, if I closed my eyes and you told me that this was Billy Corgan doing a cover, I would have believed you. I'd be like, that's pretty good. He did Smashing Pumpkins covering, I think, a Green Day song, When I Come Around. Oh my gosh. It was so good. Are you voting today? If I can get the website to participate, let's vote. You guys want to vote? Now, my voting is going to be predictive. I can't load the nominees. This is please try again later. Has anybody been able to successfully vote? I can't do it. This still could be related to Cloudflare. I don't know. I've heard the Green Day song cover. We talked about it. His Audio Slave 1 is stupid. I didn't know you like Chevelle. Chevelle's one of the most consistent bands I've probably ever listened to. I don't like them as much as the Foo Fighters, but I think Chevelle is easily one of the most consistent bands. Like, every album is just so consistent. It's unbelievable. I don't know how they captured and kept their sound and just kept writing good stuff. It blew my freaking mind. Every time I would listen to a new album, I'm like, how do they do this? No, I never got into Tool. It drives, I think it's Eugene. It drives Eugene crazy that, like, I like Chevelle but never got into Tool or Deftones. Yeah. There's just certain bands that just never fell into my circulation. Matt Glocky. Yes, that's his name. Here, I'll show you his channel. He's insanely popular because the talent is just undeniable. He's on my homepage right now. Right here. Mac Glocky. This is the one you want to listen to. If Audio Slave wrote Last Night by Morgan Wallen. It's stupid. Dude, it takes a lot of guts to sing a song and being like, well, I'm going to try and sound... What the heck is going on with my capture? Hang on a second. There we go. Like blocking my own face. It takes a lot of guts to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna try and sound like Chris Cornell. I'm just gonna hit the button and just try and sing like Chris Cornell. Shut the frick up, bro. Shut the frick up, bro. Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, I love Rage. Now I gotta check it out. I love Wallen. Your favorite one is if Chevelle did Pumped Up Kicks. Yeah. There's a lot of people that have tried to do what he does. What's crazy is you can have AI do what he does now. He is unbelievably talented. Can't believe Rage Against the Machine got political. I can't vote. It's just sitting here spinning. I can't do it. System of a Down? No. His voice drove me crazy. Sorry. I know. It's sacrilege to be from that era of time and to not like certain bands. I know. Okay. Decline. No thanks. A demo for King of Retail. That is not my kind of game. I appreciate the offer, though. Lead singer is a voice actor. Well, we're getting a lot of folks coming in for the Game Awards, so we should probably try to keep it on that. I worry that we burned the conversation yesterday in the debrief. We're not even on topic, and I've been live for 49 minutes, so we'll cut and run real quick, y'all. If that's the case, I can't do that. It's the AI on the platform is just so strict. Can't be off topic, so we got to figure out a way back. I was gonna vote, and that would spur conversation, but the dadgum website doesn't work still. a day later, I can't use their website. It could be related to Cloudflare, but I can't vote. It just crashes and says this, unable to load nominees. You know? Yeah, if you guys want to submit questions, do what SDO did. SDO, let me check and see. Yeah, your question got through. Let me answer SDO's question, then we'll clear the queue. He says, that's not right. There we go. If we forget quantity of games this year, just looking at Game of the Year noms, is it a weak year? Huh? Do you think it was a weak year? If you do, I need you to tell me why. I don't think it was a weak year at all. You guys can't vote. Page is unresponsive. Yeah, it's still jacked up. Yeah, I don't know why you would think this was a weak year. I mean, it's such a strong year that I put down one of the best games this year because I wasn't vibing with it, and I still have games in my backlog that I'm trying to finish. Like, I'm working my way through Donkey Kong right now. You know what I'm saying? There are high caliber games this year I'm not even vibing with, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, two very different games. Didn't vibe with them. I loved Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I loved Yote and Death Stranding 2. I'm having a really good time in Donkey Kong. Like, to me, it's like there are so many games. You can skip half of the most nominated games and you still have so much to play. You just got this. Oh, so you're getting a Cloudflare error now. So yeah, Cloudflare has still not it's still not completely resolved itself. Mini rant from MTO. MTO says, mini rant, but I don't think Expedition 33 should have 3 nominees. I have to reward from start to finish a performance, so Jay English should be the lone Expedition 33 actor on this ballot. I mean, I think that's a rather convenient, way to knock people off the ballot. I mean, Andy Serkis deserves a nom, and I just don't think there was enough room in the category for him. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just because somebody's not in the entirety of the game doesn't mean their performance is not worthy of praise. Like, there were so many strong performances in Expedition 33 to be like, well, we only want one from the game. Yeah, everybody was amazing. Esquier, CL, Lune, I forget Andy Serkis's character's name, the dad. Just ridiculous. Yeah, people were pretty mad that Aaron Paul didn't get his. Charlie Cox was amazing, but for 10 hours. But here's something you have to understand. You're talking about the quantity that the person is in the game. And the judgment is about the quality of the work. Now, yes, if somebody walks out and does a monologue and leaves and they're not in the rest of the game, it would feel a certain kind of way for them to be Renoir. That's it. It would feel a certain kind of way for them to be nominated. If, like, that's all they did. It's like, that's all they did? Okay, you have to understand, Gustav is, like, he's sort of central to the game. He's the heart of the game, even though he's not in the entirety of the game. He's in about half of the game. So, Gustav is so central, so pivotal. He was also largely the face of the game. Like, a lot of the scenes that you see, the wallpapers, the artwork, I don't know, man. Gustav is like the heart of Expedition 33, and it continues on with Mael. Like, Mael's basically the main character, but Gustav is sort of like the heart and soul of the story. Like, without him, it's like, I don't know. It's like it wouldn't. So much of the game would fall apart without him. He was so pivotal. That's like me having Laura Bailey as Abby, Ashley Johnson is Ellie and Troy Baker is Joel for T-Lou Part 2 for both for Best Actor. First two is fine, but third, really? Even with the flashbacks? You mean Robert Pattinson? I remember people going to Twitter and they were saying, and they were not being ironic or silly. They're like, if they ever make Expedition 33 into a movie, they have the perfect person to play Gustav in Robert Pattinson. I'm like, or Charlie Cox, since that's who it frickin' is. It's literally him. Do you know what I'm saying? It's him, boys. Anyways, I cleared the question queue. You'll probably still get errors, but the questions are getting through. They are getting through. Yeah, I literally can't get the nominees to load. It just flickers and says unable to load. Stop trying to make Charlie Cox happen. John with a question said, should there be an ensemble performance award? I think there's room for Keighley to iterate here a little bit, and let me explain why. The French voice acting in Expedition 33 has been, sort of claimed as getting completely spurned here, which I think is fair to take issue with. But it also makes me wonder. You've got Japanese voice acting in AC Shadows that I thought was quite good. I don't speak Japanese, though. And I thought the performances with, the Japanese voice acting in Yote, I thought it was transformative to the experience. I've seen the clips with Erika Ishii doing the voice, and I'm like, no. That's not... I don't have any problem with her. I know people, hate her or whatever. I don't hate strangers on the internet that I don't know personally. I mean... I don't have any problem with her. But, she is not my Atsu. My playthrough with Japanese, I feel like Atsu had a lot more heart and soul and emotion. And I've seen scenes with her, and I just feel like a lot of her line delivery was very flat and non-emotive. I'm kind of surprised she got the nomination, to be fair. But I would like to see a voice acting or performance for non-English speaking. Now, you would need people to vote. This might be, a little bit. This might be a little bit more difficult because you would need people to vote who actually speak the language. I could sit here and tell you that I thought the voice acting in Japanese was great in AC Shadows and Yote, but somebody who actually speaks Japanese might be like, yeah, no, it wasn't that good in AC Shadows, or, well, it was good in the game, but there were a couple of characters, da-da-da-da-da, whatever the case may be. So that might be a little bit more complicated than it's worth to have a category for voice acting for, non-English speaking, because the French voice acting in Expedition 33 not getting recognized, the Japanese voice acting in Yote not getting recognized, does feel like a missed opportunity. I'm not going to say that it's wrong. I'm not going to act like this is immoral or unethical or blah. I'm not going to do that. But it feels like a missed opportunity to recognize other talent in the industry that's sort of out of the frame for a lot of people. It's hard reading dialogue while being in an intense fight. You're not wrong. My horse ran into stuff a lot, Teddy, in Yote. You're a bad driver. Okay, there's two reasons my horse ran into a lot of stuff in Yote. It's actually very on rails most of the time you're riding with another character, but I would be reading the text at the bottom and I would run into stuff. So I don't disagree that it's hard to sometimes it's a little bit harder to be immersed sometimes when you're reading, but there is just something about being in the fight or watching the scenes and hearing, the Japanese is just, I don't know. I find it to be very immersive. Here's the best direction game of the year pattern I was speaking to earlier. It's been going on since 2018. it's an interesting pattern that Best Direction went to Death Stranding, but then Game of the Year went to Sekiro, and then the next year, Direction and Game of the Year went to T-Lu, and then the next year, Direction went to get Deathloop. That's so stupid, though. Why did Deathloop get Best Direction? What a mediocre game to get so much lauded. It was so lauded and praised. It was so undeserved. It was such a mediocre game. I was so disappointed. You only ever play Ghost in Japanese, even Tsushima? I prefer it. I people should play the games how they want, but I prefer it. Deathloop was creative. I mean, I think the premise was creative. I think the execution was mediocre. I thought, the voice acting was the best. The voice acting, the writing, and the premise of Deathloop was the best part. The execution in like the gameplay and the loop and the AI and everything, it was so mediocre, which was unfortunate because the voice acting was excellent and the writing was very good, and it was a really creative idea. It was very similar to how in Returnal the character is aware that they're dying and coming back, and Deathloop had the similar premise, was that you knew you were dying and coming back. It just, the execution was so like there wasn't much to it. I don't know. It was interesting that it got praised to the degree that it got praised. Like, I don't know. Returnal has sort of aged like a fine wine because more and more people have rolled credits and realized that it's one of the best games in that there's a hybrid genre out there, like the shooter rogue. Returnal is the king of that castle. Like, that is the best. That's the best shooter rogue you can play. Nothing touches it. And I think a lot of people got stuck, and a lot of the reviews were wobbly because of that. Everybody got stuck in Biome 3. It was really unfortunate because it's such a good game. About unveiling the island secrets and trying to figure out how to take down the bosses. What part of the day, the island, the method. Yeah, those are all the logistics. So, Jesse, the concept, the writing, the logistics, I thought they had a really sharp idea on their hand. And then when they executed, it just was very mediocre. It was very mediocre beyond that. Can't wait for Saros. Yeah, I'm very excited for Saros. Who breaks the internet more? Adi Shankar winning for Devil May Cry or Neil Druckmann T-Lu Part 2 winning Best Adaptation? Minecraft has it in the bag to repeat for Microsoft Spencer, but hypothetically, there is literally no way that The Last of Us Season 2 wins anything. There is no way. It did terribly. I don't know of any outlet that is going to be like, oh yeah, that was the best adaptation. There was nothing to it. They didn't adapt anything. It was a complete departure from Part 2. It should win an award for the worst adaptation. It's an abomination as far as an adaptation goes. It's terrible. It is, bad. I can't imagine anybody being like, oh yeah, that's one of the best adaptations. No, it's not. It's just, it's horrible. Season 1 was immaculate. Fallout, come and save us. Fallout had a great first season. Please don't do what The Last of Us frickin' did. Golly. It was so disappointing. I still haven't watched the season finale, and I never will. I am done with that show. I am never going back. I don't care what they do season 3. You guys will come in here and be like, it's better. They did some better stuff. I'm freaking done. I tapped all the way out. I was like, nope, not watching the finale. I'm not watching season 3. The second game is so stinking good. It's so good. The second game is so good, and they just ruined the show. It was just very disappointing. Yo, it's good, Rise. Think Lolo doesn't like it? Yeah, I'm jumping off. I jumped all the way off. Never to come back. Why bother? The Splinter Cell anime adaptation is really good. Where can you watch that? Yeah, Fallout Season 2's got Macaulay Culkin, and that's my boy, okay? That's my boy right there. I grew up watching him. I watched him say the F word in Bad Son. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad he's having a bit of a comeback, because Hollywood and celebrity life was not kind to him. It was not kind to him. It's unfortunate when that happens, but it's on Netflix? Nice. TJ Love says, I'm going to be a dad. Guys, you're saying congratulations to TJ Love. He's quoting The Last of Us Season 2. He's not. Guys, can we get some hype and some congrats in chat? You know, TJ Love's going to be a dad. Let's get some hype. Let's get a little member train going to celebrate him being a dad. No, he's saying it's about the show. Let's just refuse to see that. Let's just get some hype in chat for TJ Love. Let's get some emote spam for him, you know. Congrats, man. Congrats, TJ Love. We're here for you, bro. That's awesome. My wife and I used to watch America's Got Talent. And Howie Mandel is hit or miss with me. Sometimes he's funny and sometimes he's not. And he did this bit one time where he insisted that it was Mel B's birthday. And I don't know why. I thought it was the funniest thing. She's like, it's not my birthday. It's not my birthday. She just kept saying it. He had like a cake with like her face on it. And he's like handing it to everybody. I was rolling. And I don't even know why. It wasn't even that funny. I was dying. I was like, this is the best prank ever. Her response brought it all home. Brought it all home. That's what this reminds me of, you know. Everybody say congrats, TJ Love, you know. He sucks as a podcaster for sure. Yeah. He did that thing with Bill Burr and Billy Corgan, and I was like, this is not coming across how you think it's coming across. Like, it just makes you look like a jerk. Hey, I can vote. All right, let's see. Okay, let's see if I can actually vote. Okay, so what I'm going to do with my votes, I am not casting my vote behind, like, what I want to win. Well, I mean, in some cases, it'll be both, because I want Expedition 33 to win Game of the Year. I also think that it will win Game of the Year, okay? So my vote's going to be more predictive than selective. Sometimes. There are no rules here. So, I think, not only do I think this wins Game of the Year, I would also really like to see it win Game of the Year. I think it deserves it. Okay? Let's go to the next category. Let's see if the website's going to work. It's probably not going to work. It's been very, very bad. Here, let's try. Next category. Next category, please. Let's go to the next category. And go. And go. There we go. You're backing the favorites. So, all right, best game direction. This is the thing. I actually can't pick one here. I think any one of these you could say has done a very, very good job with direction. Any one of these. Dark City with the 2 spots says Outer Worlds 2 is my game of the year. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I think these are all very, very well done games with great direction. Okay? You could make a case, honestly, I think, for all of these. You really could. Yeah, Cloudflare's having a rough day. It really is. Yo, Dirty 50. What's good, Ginger? Thank you so much. Let me add you to the total. 105 on the week. Thank you, Ginger, for 50 months. That's a lot. So, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Okay. So, innovation in game direction and design, I think they all did good innovation within their game's direction and design. However, outstanding creative vision, I think, goes to Expedition 33. I just think that it does. Outstanding creative vision. You could maybe argue Death Stranding 2. These two, I think, are competing for this part. Outstanding creative vision. Yote's excellent. I wouldn't say it had outstanding creative vision. They did a great job making another Ghost game. Same with Hades. It's another great Hades game. You know, Split Fiction is a spiritual sequel to It Takes Two. But outstanding creative vision, these are the only two I think that would necessarily apply to. And I think it goes to Expedition 33. I think they win it. And I personally think the creative vision of this game was superior. I think Death Stranding stood on the shoulders of the creative vision of the first game and did a great job. But this is original. This is new. This is fresh. This was bold. I loved it. So that's my pick for this category. All right. Let me go to the next category. We're going to have to click a couple of times, y'all. There we go. Best narrative. Now, I can't comment on Silent Hill F and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I know people really enjoy the narratives here. I would, in this order, I would say that third place for me, in my experience and what I played, is Death Stranding 2. I thought Death Stranding 2's story was not as good as the first. I think Kojima got overindulgent. I think he wasted a lot of the good scenes at showcases. So some of the most potent scenes were robbed of their potency because I had already seen them. There were multiple instances with Elle Fanning's character. I'm like, why did you show this to me ahead of time? This would have been an amazing moment, but you showed it to me like a month ago sitting on a stage. So I think Kojima got overindulgent. I think as a visionary and a creative, I think he got maybe just a little too overexcited about his product. And he should have kept a lot of things hidden. And even without those things hidden, I thought the story was very predictable. I saw things coming from a mile away. Nothing was hidden. Nothing was a surprise. The big moments that are supposed to be like, oh my gosh, it was like, yeah, I already knew that. Which I think also hurt the narrative of Death Stranding. In second place, I would put Yote. I think Yote's story is so much more than about revenge. I'm still considering doing a lengthy deep dive into this. I just, it's so difficult to make time for videos like that with how we've structured everything. I would love to do a video breakdown of how this story is not about revenge, it's about redemption. And I think it's excellent. I think people miss a lot of that nuance because they straight-lined it and they didn't do a lot of the side content. And I also think people were predisposed to be like, yeah, it's just another revenge story, and so they didn't really do a lot of analysis of like the character, the arc, the language used. They miss a lot of the nuance in the open, and I think I think it's an excellent story. I think it's very well told. But for outstanding storytelling and narrative development, the surprise, the twist, the turn, the gut-wrenching moments, the heartbreaking moments, the impact, the gravitas, the drama, Expedition 33 is one of the best stories I have ever played in a video game. It's one of the best. It's got to be, I think it's got to be top 3. It's easily in the top 3 of all stories in games that I have ever played. It was phenomenal. Like, it's up there for me with like Hellblade 1 and Ghost of Tsushima. Like, those were stories that impacted me. Those were stories that felt like almost like a psychological, almost spiritual journey. And Expedition 33 hit me right square in the feels multiple times. And I absolutely loved it. Like, it was so good. Like, I would watch a show and be heavily invested and debating with people about the characters if, like, they turned this into a show or something. Like, I thought it was just phenomenal. The voice acting, the writing, the twists, the turns, the surprises, the moments you can't see coming. Like, when they decide to unveil something or kill someone or bring somebody into the frame and explain something, it's just so expertly done. So the best narrative, hands down, goes to Expedition 33 in my book. I also think not only do I want it to win, I think it will win this category as well. So very, very, very strong year for Expedition 33. Best art direction. Here again, I am going to have to lean towards what I think is the front runner because, and I was watching Asmongold vote through here, and I thought at some level he was correct in saying this, that like this is largely the art direction of the first game, art direction of the first game, art direction of the first game, art direction of the first game. I'm not being mean in saying that, but that's generally true. All of these games have phenomenal art direction standing on the shoulders of the previous game, and they largely are in the same vein of art direction. Yes, the use of color and biomes in Silksong is significantly an uptick in how beautiful this game is. The world of Yote is far more vibrant and lush, and Hades 2 is just, I love the art style and their execution. And Death Stranding 2 has some of the, I think, the best, settings and scenery and mocap that I've probably ever seen. But the direction, right? Outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Death Stranding 2 could take this. I will say that. Because if you analyze things from a creative and or technical achievement, they achieved really impressive things with Death Stranding 2. So if that's how they vote, creative, they're going to land on Expedition 33. So when they're voting, if they go outstanding creative, they're going to lean towards Expedition 33 because the art direction in this game is just so cool. The paintress, the world, the characters, their outfits. You run into characters, like SK and others that are just so memorable and so cool looking. Now, if you go for and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation, well, then Death Stranding 2 is going to stand much taller. As far as technical achievement goes, what Kojima Productions did with this game is unmatched. There's like no game like this right now, with the technical level of what the game does. Now, the creativity, sure, but again, it's standing on the shoulders of the creativity of the first game. So I again think this is a close tie, I think, between these two. I don't know where the votes are going to go, but I happen to think that, from my perspective, the art direction, when I think of the word art and I think of the word art direction, the creativity and the direction and the overall feel and vibe, I'm pulling for Expedition 33. I'm voting and also thinking that it will win this category. Let's go to the next category. Best score and music. I don't think this is a contest at all. There are people that don't agree with me. They think what Woodkid did for Death Stranding 2 is at the same level as Expedition 33. I don't think this category is even remotely a competition. Ain't no way Silksong or Hades take it. Yote's soundtrack is phenomenal. I love the infusion of Western style with like Eastern and Japanese instrumentation. I thought it was so dadgum awesome. I really did. I love it. I mean, anytime that doom, bow, 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 anytime that started for the Wolves, I was like, let's go, like, let's ride. There was something infectious about the melodies they come up with, but there is no way Expedition 33 loses this category. There's just no way. I can't see it. It went viral. It was praised. It was investigated. People couldn't believe that this guy was like on SoundCloud before writing the soundtrack of this song of this game. It's just there is absolutely no way that this game does not win for original score. I just don't think so. In any other year, Death Stranding 2 wins it. Any other year, Yote's a front runner and could win it. But this game just stands so incredibly tall. Just so much passion and heart. It's really hard to compete with that. It really and truly is. So, having a bit of a lag here. The website's struggling. Let me see if it'll let me go to the next category. Yeah, we might be busted. Oh, there goes my vote. Okay. Next category. What a year. Thank God no DLC noms. I agree with you. I am glad that there's not any DLCs up there. I've been pre-approved for this game. I don't know what that game is. Okay. Let me try again. Next category. South of Midnight had incredible music. I actually think I'll agree with you, Incredible Black, on that. I am really surprised that Silksong and Hades are both here instead of South of Midnight. South of Midnight soundtrack was very, very good. Like, I remember playing the game and remarking multiple times, like, dadgum, this music's amazing. Like, it had a lot of heart. It had a lot of substance to it. It was such a vibe. I so want them to fix the combat in that. If it ever goes to other platforms, give the combat a once over. That would be great. What do our votes do if the jury picks? We're like 10%, so you can impact. You can impact. South of Midnight soundtrack synced great with the battles too. I thought the combat just felt so not great. Come on, man. I was really enjoying doing this as a bit. Like, let's go, dude. Well, if I'm going to reload it, it's probably going to crash. Yeah, it's just spinning. How they didn't get nominated is wild. This is very flawed. I'm not familiar with the soundtrack in Silksong and Hades 2. I've played both games, and I didn't notice the music the way that I noticed the music in South of Midnight. 10%'s not much. It could be the difference between something winning and losing, though, in a close race. If everybody throws their weight behind a particular game, and that game is like tied for first place, certainly could. We are, we're getting good results today from search. So if you guys are searching for Game Awards conversations, make sure you hit subscribe so you can talk in my chat. Feel free to introduce yourself. People are searching for Game Awards 2025, and I'm just trying to vote, but the Cloudflare issues today and the Game Awards website's so jacked up. Try going to view all categories. No, that like crashed it. Yeah, I can't. It won't let me do anything. Yeah, it's straight stuck. I've tried refreshing. I've tried view all categories. Yeah, they're probably just getting absolutely hammered. And then there's all the Cloudflare stuff as well. So, I mean, I can pull up the categories just for the sake of discussion. So for, oh yeah, let's talk about audio design. Let me get it up here. Okay, so Expedition, we got it here with Insider Gaming. So audio design, let's do this. Let's do the 50-50. Audio design, Silent Hill F, Yote, Battlefield 6, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2. This is one of the categories that I actually think we're going to see. Let me stop this from spinning so I can keep the categories up, and then we can use this as a guide. This is one of the categories where I could see this is one where I think Death Stranding 2 is not. I'm sorry, that Expedition 33 is not going to win. Like I do not think it wins this category. I don't. So, but I don't know who it goes to, honestly. Death Stranding 2 did really, really cool stuff with audio design. Battlefield 6's audio design is incredible. I thought Ghost of Yote's audio design was fine. I am surprised Arc Raiders is not in this category for audio design. I can't really comment on Silent Hill F because I've not played it. I didn't really see anybody talk about the audio design. Perhaps they did really cool things with like spatial audio to create horror. So I initially said that I thought Battlefield 6 wins this because I think their sound design is impeccable. Like it does sound very, very cool when you're in the game and you're fighting and doing stuff. So that is that's best audio design. Best performance I think goes to Jennifer English, who is Mael. She has some of I think the most impactful moments in the game. The game centers around her. I think she very much carries the game, beginning, middle, and end. And I think she is phenomenal. She's very, very strong. I don't think Erika Ishii stands a chance in this category. It's definitely going to somebody in Expedition 33. Charlie Cox is wonderful as Gustav, but I do think it's fair to say like he's not in it nearly as much. She's in the entire game. Ben Starr as Verso, again, I don't think you disqualify him for not being in the entire game, but I think you give her a leg up and say she brings so much emotion to the table, you know, and she's in the entire game as well. So that's best performance. Innovation and accessibility. I don't really have a comment there because I don't know how you vote for that. You know, I'd have to be super familiar with, here we go, best in accessibility. I'd have to be super familiar with what all these games did. My only recollection is that Doom did a lot. That's all I remember. I don't know what these other games have done. I remember a lot of people talking about everything that Doom did within the realm of accessibility. Games for Impact. That's the one where I wanted to read the description. Wanderstop, Lost Records, I don't know how to say that. Consume Me and South of Midnight. Now, earlier, FCAT came in and said South of Midnight is not a game for Impact. Let me see if I can go. Let me see if I can get that category pulled up. Let's see. Games for Impact. Let's see if I can like trick their website to take me to it. No, it's still just spinning for me. I still can't vote. Yeah, it's just spinning. Make sure as you guys come in, you're hitting the like button. If you've never been here before, I am a Safe for Work broadcaster, and we cover gaming news Monday through Friday. We also do uploads. We do community events. A great reason to Despelati. Yeah, I don't know. I can't do anything right now. None of the websites are working. I think it's possible that Cloudflare is still the issue. Twitter came back on and was working fine. Insider Gaming came back on and was working fine. Even their website was affected. Despelote. Despelote. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to pull up the games for impact category to see how they described it. No, I can't pull up anything. Their entire website. Well, hang on. It seems like it's working again. Maybe. No, as soon as I click on something, it just stops. Like I can go to the categories and see them all. And as soon as I click on one, it just stops. Games for impact. For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Okay. That's the description? Thank you. The problem is the people voting, right? Like if you're saying it's a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. I guess the question would be, what's the pro-social meaning or message in South of Midnight? You know, Hazel learns an ancient weaving power to explore the deep south. She must cleanse stigma, defeat enemies. The game emulates stop-motion animation. The synopsis. Reception. Yeah, I don't know, and this is like the problem with the category. Like I don't know if they would say, yeah, we made a game with a with a pro social message or pro social impact. But if people played it and felt like it did that, and then that's why they voted, I mean, it's hard to argue with that, right? If people played it and thought, hey, this is really good, you know, exposing us to a culture and a view and a vibe and a feel that ordinarily maybe would have been like out of the frame for a lot of people. I guess that you know, the people voting are the, you know, I don't know. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, try to get us to 200 likes. And yeah, I can't get the... Well, I got Games for Impact to finally come up. Thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. View all categories. I can't... Yeah, if I click on something, it just like sits. It's like it gets stuck almost instantly. How many games are there with the Deep South mythos? I don't know. Frayed Voyager, thank you so much for 8 months. Let me add you to the total. Best game with a hot spring, Yote, Hades 2, or Silk Song? All of them. Well, this is one of the challenges when something really big like this happens, is it just kind of takes over the news cycle. So there was like nothing yesterday to really talk about or cover, and I feel like y'all are kind of done, and I don't take offense to that. We did so much discussion of this yesterday. I think we talked for like 2 hours. We kind of already did this show. It was a concern that I had, that we would just not have much to say. It's like we went back and forth on this for probably an hour and a half, close to 2 hours yesterday after the event. So I'm not going to waste the time in the Capitol here trying to make this happen. We're pretty much done, and I'm not going to force it. So I'm looking at the feeds. I'm not seeing much right now. We're probably going to have to kind of do that wait thing. Other than like Half-Life 3 is listed on Instant Gaming. That's new. Slated for 2026. Like this just kind of hit the airwaves. Half-Life 3 is listed on Instant Gaming. What you want to do now? Well, it's not good to take a stream like this and just continue doing it for the sake of doing it. Unfortunately, the way that YouTube does things and categorizes things, it's extremely counterproductive to do that. So it's a bummer. Like, we can't just sit here for 6 hours and just hang out and talk and do whatever we want. It ends up becoming counterproductive, and it ends up hurting the video. Because later, other people watch this and find this, and that won't happen if we spent the next hour talking about Half-Life or music or whatever. It gets beat to death because YouTube's like, this video doesn't make any sense. Imagine if I uploaded a 10-minute video that was supposed to be about the Game Awards, and 8 minutes of the video is me talking about my favorite album, like my favorite rock band. Well, YouTube would see that as a problem. They'd be like, why would you do that? Why would you have a video? Well, live streams are treated the same way, which is a little bit unfair because we've been live for an hour and a half, and I'm like, I can't make this continue, you know. Like, we've talked Game Awards and the games and the noms for an hour and a half. We can't do that. We can't just keep going for another hour and a half to 2 hours. We're going to end up talking about other things, which I enjoy doing, but the platform's just not conducive to that, unfortunately. Like, if, you know, Twitch doesn't care. Twitch is just a platform with, like, you know, categories. But, like, the way YouTube operates is it's trying to take a video and put it in front of the right people, and it's going to struggle to do that if we're not talking about the topic. So, that's a great reason to be a member. We are really far behind on pace. I will be out of town next week. So if we want to try to have, like, you know, a strong push and some strong momentum before we leave town, we'll have to try to do that Wednesday through Friday. But I'm not gonna like force it and be like, let's go, let's keep talking, let's hit likes. No, we'll just go to Discord and plan the next day. It's usually a better decision to do that because it can really end up being damaging to this video. And now I'm getting errors on their website. I'm getting like a 500 error. I can't even. It's like a big white screen. So, yeah. I wanted to have my voting and, like, have a timestamp, and I can't. Like, the whole internet's just sadly having a conniption. Like, I can't get any consistency out of their website because now it just keeps crashing when I try to use it. So, use the Discord command. Use the Discord link below. If you can't come with us, that's a great reason to consider becoming a member. And, yeah, I'll see you guys in the Discord.